And welcome everybody to the Michigan Women's Hockey Coaches Show live from Regents Field. We are very, very lucky today to be talking about the Concordia game from last Thursday. And then head coach Jenna Trebbiano and I will also be talking about the upcoming games this weekend, the three games from this weekend versus University of Michigan Dearborn, as well as versus Lake Superior State. And let's pull that up. How are you doing today, Coach Trebbiano?
Great. We have an exciting weekend ahead. I am very excited, very, very energized. We also have practice at 8:30 tonight instead of 10 o'clock. So
we're going to get you right and then have you race over there. So
there we go.
No rest with the key portion of the season coming up right now.
Yep, but we'll be able to get to bed earlier than normal tonight, which is great.
Fantastic. Still probably doesn't prepare you for like 8:30 in the morning games, but hopefully we won't have another one of those.
Hopefully
for
not.
A while. Last Thursday, Michigan welcomed in Concordia to Yost Ice Arena. Michigan dominated the shots on goal in the first two periods, 20-5, but they could not get the puck past Lennon. Michigan has had to face some outstanding performances from several opposing netminders. The team has to face their own very good goalies in practice. Does that help prepare the team for having some of those instances where they see their own great goalies so they don't get as nervous or things in those situations?
Yeah, I think so. We've been very fortunate this season to have two great goalies to be able to utilize during practice, compared to the previous two seasons where we only had one. So I can't remember if we'll get to it, but Robin Goldman is our e-bug. So she actually dressed for practice last Wednesday, which was really cool, and to see her teammates supporting her. Yeah, with better goaltenders, you really have to get creative and be selective in your shot taking. So like shooting low, shooting for rebounds is something that if we know a goalie is going to drop and she's going to kick out those rebounds, we want to get that first puck on net low.
Absolutely. So was Robin happy she didn't have to go in as the emergency goaltender? I know she had to play once, was it last season versus Concordia? And I know she's, I believe, a former field hockey goalie, so that's got to be a little different going from field hockey to hockey and hopping right in there. Really appreciate her being willing to fill that role.
Absolutely. She's the ultimate team player. Obviously, it wasn't what she wanted for that game in terms of where she saw herself, but she's the ultimate team player. John's had an exam until 8 or 8:30, so she wasn't able to make the game. But yeah, Robin's she's a fantastic human.
Perfect, awesome, and not a great president for the team this season and everything.
Definitely.
So, senior. We'll talk more about the seniors coming up. Michigan was able to break the tie at 3:34 in the third period when Hansen found Flazar between the circles. She buried it in the blocker side high. I'm pretty sure people outside the rink could hear my call as I was a bit exuberant that we scored. Did you make any changes to the offense going into the third period, or was it just a chance of good puck movement and just continuously getting pucks to the net?
We had the shots that we wanted.
Yeah.
We had good opportunities. It was a matter of time before things were going to start going in.
Absolutely.
So for us not panicking, knowing we were going to produce eventually, was something that we talked about. And I think it's something that we need to keep in mind in every game.
Absolutely.
Obviously, we want to keep our foot on the gas for all three periods, but not getting frustrated or flustered is something that we all need to work on, including myself as a coach, because it is frustrating when we have so many great opportunities and we're just not producing as we all feel we should. But it doesn't help anybody when we're frustrated, and we're frustrating at ourselves, frustrated with our teammates, frustrated with our coaches. So we need to just be able to figure out how to work through that together.
Absolutely. And it's always a worry when you get that frustration that you might try and do too much and do more than your job, and that's where mistakes happen. So,
exactly.
Not that I know anything about that in broadcast, but that's neither here nor there. So then taking a look at 7:12 in the third, Lindahl intercepted a pass at the far point. She was able to skate across the far circle, weave through traffic, blast a shot in from the slot, and again she found success. Blocker side high versus Vanem. Lindahl has 12 points in the last 9 games on 7 goals and 5 assists. What makes Julia such a successful player, and how is she so consistent on the score sheet?
She has a high hockey IQ. So in that play, she anticipated the puck was coming up the board. She was right there, sick on the ice waiting. She's an athlete and a competitor.
Absolutely.
So she has all that, and yeah, she likes to score goals. She likes to produce. She's a playmaker at the same time. So making sure that she is in a position to be successful is what's important for us as a coaching staff. We're confident with her in any position on the ice. But yeah, it's cool when the puck is on her stick. She sort of just takes control of the game.
Absolutely.
And it's really fun to watch.
Absolutely. You can see her and Katie German is a defender as well. Sometimes they'll take it all the way up the ice and weave through people. And I'm just amazed as you see really, really athletic people just not able to respond in time as they just cut through groups of defenders. It's fantastic to watch. Thing of beauty. And then the final tally came at 11:47 in the third when Michigan's other hot hand, Sam Carr, scored. Simmer took the puck from the far circle, moved it over to the near circle, found Carr in a perfect position, and she was able to put it in as Lennon dove from right to left. Carr has 10 goals in the last 9 games. She's a freshman who has caught fire in the second half of the season. That sounds a lot like what Lindahl did last season, so kind of a lot of similarities between their freshman seasons between those two players.
Yeah, it's exciting. We were definitely, I think I said this last time on the broadcast, we don't have any true first-year students anymore.
Yeah,
they have
absolutely.
a semester under their belt. We did add Maddie Ferris to our roster, who's been a great addition.
Absolutely.
She's a true defenseman, but we have her playing left wing, and she's fitting in really well.
That's
so
awesome.
It's just a matter of time before she gets in the groove as well in terms of production. But yeah, it's exciting to see players really settle in and, being able to produce for their team and their teammates.
Absolutely. And we've been talking a lot, especially the last couple games, about Lindahl and Carr doing great. Is there anyone else on offense that you'd like to highlight that maybe doesn't get as much love on the score sheet but is really important to the team and works hard on offense? Because I want to make sure we give all the hardworking players their credit and due.
Yeah, the two that come to the top of my head when you said hardworking players, Megan Matthews and Jessie Simmer, two
Absolutely.
Seniors that in any situation they're going to go out and grind. They're both really physical, super smart, and just very strong fundamental players, can get from point A to point B, know exactly where they're supposed to be, and have really evolved in their years at Michigan into players that are reliable. They're a top penalty kill unit as well.
Indeed.
Which is great to have that experience and that seniority when we're in situations where we need to kill a penalty. So those two are really important to the core of our team.
Fantastic. Ponith got her 4th shutout of the year. She's made some amazing saves, especially early in the third. Concordia really put a lot of pucks on net, and Ponith did an amazing job keeping a clean sheet. But we probably don't mention the defense enough, as this Michigan defense has given up the least amount of goals in the CCWHA, both total and per game. What makes this defense so successful?
It's from the net out. We know we have a great goaltender in Ponith and also in Johns. And having that reliability is important. Ultimately, we have a strong defensive core. What we've been doing is we've been running 6D. Last year we had a 7th defenseman.
Indeed.
This year it's more so Ben 6D, so they're paired up. They work together in practice. They're familiar with each other, which I think has helped a lot. And obviously Ned has been a huge part of building our defensive core. So a lot of most of the players were here last season.
Indeed.
Learned a lot from him. And I've really been working with our defense and some players that have transitioned to the defensive positions, such as Ceballos. Really making sure that they feel confident because they are the next person out besides the goaltender.
Yeah.
And it's important that everybody on the ice executes their job and executes it well.
Absolutely. I noticed in the last several games you put both Izzy and Katie German together,
Yes.
and just obviously they've been playing their entire life together, and does that really, you can see how they kind of know where each other's going to be on the ice, and how fun has that been to get to see them really do excellent on the defensive side as sisters and twins out there working hard.
Yeah, this is the first time that I can remember that they've been paired up together.
Yeah.
So that's been interesting to see it play out. Two pretty different styles of play,
Indeed.
but I think they complement each other really well.
Absolutely. So, any final thoughts on the Concordia game?
Not necessarily. It was a great win.
Yes, absolutely.
We showed up in the third period and we got the job done. It was a CCWJ game,
Yes.
and we've clinched a spot in the CCWJ playoffs, which is really important for us as we look to extend our season into the national tournament. So I'm really proud of our team for showing up on a Thursday.
Absolutely. Now, taking a look at Friday. So Friday at 7 p.m. at Yost Ice Arena, Michigan plays their final CCWHA game of the regular season versus rivals Michigan Dearborn. Michigan Dearborn has 25 wins, 4 losses, and 1 tie. Their only losses were on a 3-game road trip to St. Louis back in October 13th through 15th. They lost to McKendree 4-1, to Maryville 2-0, and also to Maryville 4-1. And then their only other loss came from the Michigan squad from Ann Arbor when they played at Dearborn back on January 29th. They tied Lake Superior State back on November 18th. They have some big wins. They did beat Adrian once, and they're coming off of a huge sweep of Indiana Tech last weekend. They are ranked 7th in the nation, 1 spot behind Michigan. Michigan is up to number 6 in the nation. They are number 1 on the CCWHA East pod, and they do have the highest goal differential in the CCWHA as they're plus 91 versus Michigan's plus 39. What does Michigan have to do to beat Michigan Dearborn Friday?
Do what we did last time.
Yeah.
Do what we did last time we played them. We played them hard. It was a physical game, but ultimately the team that stays out of the box is the team that's going to win. And that's exactly what happened. So we'll just look to continue that. Something that we take a lot of pride in is that we're not a highly penalized team. I think we're probably the least penalized team.
Indeed.
Probably in the top 10 in the rankings, which is something that I take a lot of pride in too, because I don't
Definitely.
tolerate any retaliation. I don't tolerate any of that, and the students know that. So, yeah, we're going to focus on special teams, anticipate to be on the power play a lot, and execute and get the job done.
That's fantastic. It's always the person who retaliates who ends up in the box, too, not the
Yes.
initial
Yep.
instigators. That's always brilliant, keeping your temper in control there. Michigan wraps up the regular season with a pair of games at Yost versus Lake Superior State. They play Saturday at 7:30 p.m. By the way, that is the senior game. We'll talk a little bit more about those seniors in a second. And Sunday at 4 p.m. Lake Superior State has 8 wins, 14 losses, and a tie. Michigan swept Lake Superior State in the Sioux back in October, winning 4-1 and 4-2. But both of these teams have grown so much since that weekend. Lake Superior State is 2nd in the West CCWHA pod, and it is incredibly hard to beat a team 4 times in a season. What do you have to do to make sure you come out with a pair of wins and go into the playoffs on a high streak?
Play our game.
Yep.
We know we have depth, so we need to play our game. We need to capitalize when we create or are given opportunities and protect our defensive zone.
Absolutely. So Saturday is senior night. So we'd love to see you down at Yost all 3 nights. But absolutely, if you could come on down Saturday, there are 5 seniors in this class. They are Katie Christensen, Meg Bryce, Megan Matthews, Jesse Simmer, and Robin Goldman. Do you want to talk a little bit about what those seniors have meant to this team in their time here in Ann Arbor?
Yeah, they're definitely a special group for sure. We talked about Robin Goldman. She's filled in for a various number of roles in her career as a Wolverine, one of them being emergency backup goaltender, also known as E-Bug. So she's just a phenomenal team player. She was elected team president, really embodies the team and gets along with everybody. We talked about Jesse Simmer, really a player that has evolved and feel we can put her out in any situation.
Indeed.
And same with Megan Matthews too. Something I've talked about Megan Matthews is her tenacity on the ice. She's something that I really appreciate as a coach when we need some energy and somebody we can rely on in situations where we need energy. Meg Bryce. Meg is a phenomenal person. She's, again, a team player, an important part of our defensive core, and I think I don't want to spoil anything, but there's going to be something special on senior night.
Oh, very
regarding
cool. Very
Meg,
cool.
Which I should probably share the itinerary with you so you know what's going on. And then Katie Christensen, who is, along with Megan Matthews, one of our travel coordinators, so helps coordinate our travel. When we do travel, so when we went to St. Louis, they helped coordinate our trips. And, you know, that's a really important part of our team. It's not just what happens on the ice, it's what happens off the ice, too.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
Those 5, obviously 3 of them are members of our leadership group.
Yeah.
But we're excited to celebrate them on Saturday.
That's awesome. And certainly you got to love all 5 sticking with the team, having roles, and even when the recruiting classes have gotten bigger and more people, so there's been less playing time, they've all been there and supporting the team. Now, you mentioned travel coordinator. How do you deal with something coming up with the CCWHA playoffs, the nationals, where you don't know how long you're going to be there? What sort of difficulties does that propose for a travel coordinator? It's hard for us individually, you know, where I'm sitting there with my wife going, man, do we book? Do we sleep in our car the whole time?
Right.
But how is that for a team where you have to scramble a little bit depending on how many games you win?
Yeah, you have to be proactive. So we've been operating under the assumption that we are going to make the tournament.
Yep.
So we have plans in place. If for some reason they do not work out, there's some sort of cancellation policy. So we're logistically all ready to go. I think maybe meals will be the one thing we have to figure out. But
Sure, yeah.
yeah, we've got a bus, we've got a hotel, and everybody's ready to take a week off of school to go play hockey. So
Fantastic.
but we have to get our job done this weekend first, and also at the league tournament.
Absolutely, absolutely. So moving up a spot to number 6, a little bit more comfortable there, a little bit more distance from that number 10 spot. Does that make you feel a little bit more comfortable, or is it just it doesn't matter? You gotta get your job done this weekend and continue to win throughout the tournaments.
Yeah, it's definitely like nicer to see a 6 rather than a 7.
Yeah.
But we, like you said, we have to get the job done this weekend, and that needs to be the mentality at practice tonight, practice tomorrow, and throughout the duration of the weekend, and then into the league tournament, because those games also count for the ACHA national ranking. So if we don't do well at the league tournament, that could ultimately hurt us for the national tournament.
Absolutely. A little surprised to see Adrian didn't move at all after a huge weekend up at Liberty, beating Liberty and then losing in overtime, but basically tying Liberty. No movement there. I was a little surprised by that, but that just means, again, a team that I think Michigan would like to see in the CCWHA tournament and try and get on the other side versus Adrian and try and get that to tournament
For sure.
championship. So Michigan, speaking of, Michigan can still get the top spot in the East Pod, but they need some help. But they cannot drop lower than the 3rd spot. So Michigan is absolutely guaranteed to be in the CCWHA tournament. The playoffs begin Friday, the 23rd of February through Sunday, the 25th of February. They're at the Crystal Field House in Burton, Michigan. You can get your tickets right now as well as reserve hotel rooms. Just go to ccwhad1.acha.hockeytech.com. There's a spot where you can pull up your camera and get a little 3D barcode for hotels, for tickets. So make sure you get those. They aren't the hugest of rinks, so make sure you get your tickets and are ready to go. So make sure you check that out. We also want to mention, any other thoughts on the CCWHA tournament before I flip over and mention the PWHA or the PWHL?
Just that we have clinched a berth in the CCWHA tournament. And looking forward to seeing how everything plays out this weekend, to see who our opponent will be and start preparing for that mentally.
So, and I apologize right now if I'm not broadcasting. I'll probably be yelling from the stands since we're not going to be broadcasting those. So forgive my voice booming throughout.
Oh, we need it. We
the
need
ring.
it. Thank you.
So
Thank you in advance.
it will be wonderful. We also want to mention again the PWHL is having a game March 16th at 6 p.m. at Little Caesars Arena. It's Ottawa taking on Boston. And again, folks, if we want to prove that Southeastern Michigan can support a professional women's hockey team, and I have absolute faith it can, it'll be a home run if we have them here. But we need to fill up that arena. And you can see players like Hillary Knight's going to be there. And players from Michigan, like Brighton, Michigan's own Sheann Darkangelo, Megan Keller from Farmington, Michigan, and Taylor Gerard from Macomb, Michigan, as well as so many other great players. Obviously, the team is hoping to be in St. Louis.
Correct.
Otherwise, I'm sure they'd all love to be there and see those games. But if you're not in St. Louis, please get out to that game, and we'd love to hear about what an amazing time everybody had out there. We do have some condolences. We do want to send our condolences to Allie Flazar and the Flazar family. Allie's grandmother passed on Saturday, so we'd love to send all of our thoughts and prayers to the Flazar family. They're at every game supporting Allie, and we know it's a tough time for them. So hopefully our condolences to them. Anything else you want to mention at this point, Coach?
I'm just looking forward to this weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday at Yost is going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
We haven't had anything like that this year, so it's going to be exciting to be at home on Saturday. It's going to be a great event with our senior night, and I'll share those details with you.
Perfect.
And as of right now on Sunday, President Ono is planning on dropping the puck for Sunday's game.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
That's fantastic. And President Ono, if you want to come up and say a few words on the broadcast, you're more than welcome to. I promise I'll keep everything very easy for you. But if you want to, we just appreciate him being there. That's fantastic to hear. And that's great. So we want to thank Regents Field for hosting the broadcast. We want to thank the Pioneer Women's High School hockey team for being out at the game versus Concordia. Did you folks know they were going to be there, or did
We
Leslie
did.
Reed? That's awesome.
We did, yes. Lonnie Grantham had emailed me notifying both me and Coach Joe that they would be there. And unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to say hello before the game, but I did get to see Lonnie after the game and thanked him
Awesome.
for getting the group there. It was a great turnout for a Thursday, I think.
It was really, for a
Yeah.
Thursday night game, there were a lot of people there, and it's,
Yeah, I
it's
loved it.
great. And I appreciate the Granthams and what they did for hockey
Definitely.
in this area. They do an amazing job. And Pioneer actually has not only a varsity squad, but a JV squad. So if you are in the area, you're looking to learn more about hockey, you're in high school, check that out at Pioneer. I don't believe Skyron, which is Skyline and Huron together, I don't believe they have a JV squad. I'll have to check that out. But it was great to see him there. Leslie Reed, the team manager, a alumni of that group, and both Izzy and Katie German played at Pioneer, just not hockey. So great to see them, and we broadcast them as well. So thank you to everyone who came out to Yost. It was a great, great evening. It was a wonderful crowd, and thank you for watching and supporting Michigan women's hockey. Any last words?
No, just excited to be here, and I can't thank everybody enough. It's been a great ride so far, but it's not over.
And
So-
we're back to a little hockey weather now too. It's turning cold again, so
I don't really like that part, but
I understand.
I don't like being cold. Picked the wrong sport, I guess.
But we're back to hockey weather. So hopefully we'll see you get out to Yost as much as you can this weekend. Again, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you on the broadcast. Oh, and Coach Ned should be back on the broadcast on Friday. I know everyone looking
He's
forward to
driving
that.
now.
He's driving. That's awesome.
That's insane.
It's wonderful. I'm sure everyone's sick of just my voice on there, so they'll be
Yeah.
happy to have Coach
Yes.
Ned back. So
I'll be happy to see him too.
absolutely. Thank you, folks. Have a wonderful evening.